Baruch, good morning and Shavua Tov. The beginning of the tractate of Gemara of Pesachim, the volume that the Talmud dedicates towards discussing the laws and the very intricate laws of Pesach, primarily Chametz and everything that has to do with Pesach, starts with the halacha of the obligation that we have to check our house and rid it of Hametz. Now, although the Mishnah, and although it's brought down in Halacha, that this checking obligation is to be done the eve before the eve of of Pesach, which would mean this year, Pesach is starting Friday night, March 30th. March 30th, Friday night, is the first night of the Seder. That would make March 29th, Thursday night, the night that we are going to do Bidikat Hametz. Now, even though our obligation is to check our house that night, it is definitely not wise, and even halachically, it is also permitted to start checking from before. If a person checking means to clean and check, it doesn't mean to, I know where all my chametz is and leave it all there. No, we need to clean, we need to check, we need to set aside and designate what we're doing with that chametz. So maybe us men might not be up to that already in our minds, but definitely our wives, being that we have 3 weeks, just under 3 weeks till Pesach, they've already started preparing what is going to be and how they're going to clean and all of those things. So the halacha is that even though we have an obligation to clean and to check primarily that Thursday night, March 29th, we're still allowed to and we're supposed to start cleaning and checking before, to the point where, according to the halacha, if a person checked before a certain area of the house, a week or 2 or even 3 before the March 29th, before that Thursday night, it was cleaned and checked, you know that no chametz is there, you don't need to go back and check it again. Now there's one exception to that rule, if you have small children at home. If you have small children at home, whether they're yours or whether they're your neighbors, whether they're your grandchildren or any which way, because they have a mind of their own and they adapt and they give the hametz a mind of its own as well. So it definitely is wise to start preparing and to start cleaning prior to March 29th, that Thursday night, which is the eve before the eve of Pesach. But if we are sure that we've cleaned and checked a certain place, and we know that there's no chametz that got there, for example, a person's office. If it's your office and you're the only one that goes there, and you know sometimes you have little food in your drawer, you clean your drawer and nothing else left is there, and for the next 2 weeks you're not going to bring anything there, that's fine. You don't need to go back and check it. The same goes in one's house. Maybe the attic, or maybe other parts of the house where the children don't get to and no chametz ever gets to. If those places are cleaned and checked before the night of checking, one does not need to go back and check. Now, examples of places that have to be checked, besides for the obvious, for example, the fridges and the pantries, children's and even adults' clothing. We come to the synagogue on Shabbat and someone gives us a candy. Sometimes we eat it, sometimes we say, no, maybe I better do the proper halacha and wait till after Kiddush before I eat the candy. So you put it in your pocket. You put it in your pocket, you end up getting to it, you might not end up getting to it. Next thing you know, you're coming to the Seder, you're putting on a beautiful suit, it's your Shabbat suit, it's your Yom Tov suit, all of a sudden you find you have a Hametz candy on you. So the clothes need to be checked. Now if our clothes need to be checked, our children's clothes need to be checked. We need to check the clothes to make sure that they're clean, that they don't have any crusted chametz on them, that they don't have any candies or any other type of chametz in them. Clothes is something that has to be checked. Bags, whether it's traveling bags, for example, like a carry-on, sometimes you put a little snack in there, or knapsacks, adult knapsacks, children knapsacks, school knapsacks, lunch boxes, the list goes on and on and on. I'm just giving us a couple other examples which can open our minds, and each of us need to think in our own creative way, the way our family, our wife, our children actually operate in the home to make sure that everything is checked. Children's toys, their little cabinets, their little closets, their little drawers, everything that comes to anywhere chametz could possibly get, we need to check, we need to get rid of the chametz and work towards it. A person might think it's a lot of work, but as we know, Lefum tzara agra, based on the amount of exertion that we put, and effort and toil that we put, we will be rewarded. The Arizal said that a person who works very hard on Pesach to make sure there is no chametz at all in his house, or that he doesn't eat any chametz and there's nothing to do, he rids himself completely of chametz 100%, he will be sure to not sin the upcoming year. Something that is deeply connected to such. And I'll end off with one last. The Arizal is known to be quoted to say that all the sweat a person sweats for the preparation of Shabbat, that sweat is taken and it's used to erase a person's sins. Okay? He also said so, and he said it primarily by cleaning and preparing for Pesach, and specifically the baking of the matzot of Pesach. That all the sweat we transpire while we are cleaning, when we're bending over, that pain that we might have in our back, in our knees, whether it's us, our wives, whoever and ever, anyone, one extra addition, one benefit that a person must think when they're going through that strenuous cleaning and checking, that they're also going to, all of that sweat and all of that stress and tension is all taken towards erasing one's avonot. We say this also by Pesach. We say this by Sukkot. Putting up our sukkah, especially here in South Florida, especially it's very hot. We sweat a lot. Don't think that sweat goes to vain. Don't think the sweat that we sweat when we prepare for Shabbat, when we clean for Pesach, and any other mitzvot, don't think that sweat and that exertion goes in vain. Adrabah, Arizal says, and he promises it taken to erase our avonot, which are written in our sefer. Hashem HaKadosh Baruch Hu will bless us. We're going to spend the next 3 weeks getting deep into all the laws of Pesach, pre-Pesach, and during Pesach, Bezrat Hashem.